In our fast-paced lives today, distractions are everywhere, making it hard to concentrate on a single task. Social media notifications constantly tug at our attention, and we often start projects with excitement, only to abandon them for the next dazzling thing that comes along. This story follows the teachings of Buddha and explores how we can overcome such interruptions. Once upon a time, in a thriving kingdom, there was an emperor who had everything he could ever want. He possessed immense wealth, had faithful subjects who cared for him, and ensured that his people lacked for nothing. Despite his abundance, the emperor was troubled because he couldn't find peace of mind. He found his thoughts wandering whenever he tried to focus on anything, which left him restless and anxious. No matter how many wise kings or scholars he consulted, their suggestions failed to help him. He often lay awake at night, turning over his thoughts in frustration. One day, he heard rumors of a remarkable person in his kingdom whose wisdom was said to hold the secrets to life. People traveled from far and wide to seek this person's guidance, as he could resolve their concerns with great simplicity. Intrigued, the emperor felt hopeful that he may finally find answers to his own challenges. Early the next morning, he set off to meet this extraordinary figure, eager to discover if the praise was justified. The journey was long, and upon arriving at the ashram, he was encouraged by those he met along the way. They spoke highly of the person he sought, which only deepened the emperor's curiosity. However, when he reached the ashram, he found only a garden and a gardener hard at work, covered in mud and barefoot. Unsure, the emperor approached and asked, "Where can I find the owner of this ashram?" The gardener replied, "Please, take a seat. I will fetch him." When the extraordinary person finally appeared, the emperor was astonished to see that he was, in fact, the very gardener he had seen moments before. The gardener, who was actually a Buddhist monk, greeted the emperor and requested to hear his reason for visiting. As the emperor expressed his disappointment in the lack of wisdom he had encountered so far, he questioned how someone without signs of scholarly knowledge could possess great wisdom. The monk smiled and mentioned that true knowledge is found in the simplicity of nature and daily life. Intrigued, the emperor confided in the monk about his trouble focusing and the distractions that plagued his mind. Understanding the emperor's struggles, the monk offered a unique solution. He asked the emperor to return the next morning when they could begin practice. The emperor, filled with anticipation, went back to his palace but struggled to find rest. His mind was filled with thoughts about the monk's guidance, as the gardener's tranquility perplexed him. The following morning, the emperor hastily returned to the ashram. The monk presented him with a small jug of water, instructing him to water 15 plants in the garden. As you do this, focus solely on the task at hand. If any other thoughts enter your mind, pause and start over with the first plant, the monk advised. Initially, this simple task felt foreign to the emperor, but he tried his best to follow the monk's directions. However, as he began watering the first plant, his mind started to drift. Images of his palace garden and thoughts about his empire flooded in. Remembering the monk's instruction, he would reset and go back to the first plant. Yet with each attempt, distractions multiplied, and his frustration grew. By midday, he was still struggling, overwhelmed by thoughts of the burdens of leadership, spiraling into anger and despair over his inability to concentrate. As the day passed into night, he had not accomplished the simple task assigned to him. When the monk returned that evening, he found the emperor still struggling. "I commend your efforts," the monk said. "Your dedication is clear. But when our minds are clouded with thoughts, we cannot see the world as it is. Simple tasks can bring us peace if we give them our full attention." The emperor expressed his confusion about this concept, feeling as though he was forever trapped in a whirlwind of thoughts. The monk encouraged him further, explaining that the issue lay in the fact that the emperor was not truly engaging with the task of watering, but instead was fixated on completing it. You perceived this task as a burden, eager to escape it, and as a result, you missed the point of the exercise. Realizing this profound truth, the emperor began to understand that he had been rushing to finish the task in order to get answers to his questions. It was necessary to approach each task with patience and presence, rather than haste. The monk then suggested a practical method. Focus on your breath, and let that be your guide. By being aware of your breath, you can help calm your mind. He advised that the emperor practice this not just during the watering of plants, but at all times, encouraging him to embrace the present moment and observe the world around him. With practice, your mind will become involved in every action, and you will gain knowledge and inner peace. Taking these lessons to heart, the emperor returned to his palace, prioritizing his breathing and engaging with his work wholeheartedly. He learned not to see tasks as burdens, but as opportunities for growth. Friends, always remember not to treat any work as a weight to bear. If you think of tasks this way, you will rush through them in hopes of alleviating the burden, which leads to stress and dissatisfaction. Instead, approach everything with full attention and focus, for this will allow you to find enjoyment and fulfillment in your efforts. I hope you find wisdom in this story and put these teachings into practice in your daily life. Thank you for joining me on this journey towards simplicity and understanding the essence of life. Be sure to subscribe for more meaningful content and share these ideas with someone dear to you. Remember, aim higher and aspire to rise.